I just wonder if it's time to rethink Christmas, at least for me and my family. And I think this is something that we've been doing over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Because even with our kids, we feel like they have a lot of things because they have grandparents on each side who've been able to buy things for them. We buy things for them, aunts and uncles and all of this. And I just feel like a lot of us are living in this time of abundance. And that's not to say that people are also struggling, but I also feel like people have a lot of things though.
Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make green together.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Black and Brown Make Green. I'm Natasha.
And I'm Damian.
I have been struggling with this idea of Christmas. And not necessarily Christmas, but more so gift giving. And the question that I've been asking myself is, am I wrong for not gifting family members Christmas gifts if it seems as if they have everything they need?
That's a hard one, Tasha. You're over here Scrooging. And, really the fact of the matter is that I think the key is in that you said, everybody has everything they need. So we're not really talking about the kids and the family. We're talking about the adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's dig into this a little bit. What makes you think this?
What makes me think this? I think most people nowadays are ordering everything that they need from Amazon or from whatever store. And when it comes Christmas time, there's not really things that they need.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot for you to be able to choose and purchase from them because they already have it.
Right.
And then there's that other part of me that thinks about all of this stuff we're collecting. We're collecting all of these things. We have so many clothes and shoes, and for the kids, there's so many toys, and it seems as if we're just adding to this collection of things that is not necessarily getting as much use out of it. And then it's also harming the environment because we just keep adding into this pile of things that, we've become this consumer nation.
Yeah.
And so it feels kind of wrong to keep contributing to that just for the sake of giving a Christmas gift.
Yeah, but then there's the opposite side of that where people actually do enjoy opening up a gift. They enjoy the act of receiving something. They enjoy the actual act of, tearing the paper off and seeing what's inside, the surprise element of it. So what about that? What about that piece?
And that's why I'm struggling with this.
Yeah.
Because it's nuanced. It's like, okay, this person has what they need. I want to try to find something that is helpful to them or that's interesting for them. But I think one of the struggles that I have is sometimes I have bought things for people in the past and those items have gone unused.
Yeah.
And it may not be an item that I specifically chose. It was an item that they specifically asked for.
Yeah.
And so then my question is, okay, well, if I'm buying these gifts that are not even being used, then what are we doing this for? Is it really just to open something up? Like, what is going on here? I'm struggling with it, Damian. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get you. And I do agree, too. I dislike the element of consumerism in gift giving. To make it a ritual, an expectation, to make it an expectation is the thing that sort of bothers me because we do live in the age of instant gratification. And, a lot of the people in our circle do have everything they want. And even if they don't, like for an example, let's say we know somebody that has a hobby and that person with that hobby wants specific items, right, to help them with their hobby. You are not going to know what that person wants, those items. You're not going to know what things they want, because they're probably very specialized and they're very specific. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. I think that there is that aspect of consumerism. There is that aspect of environmentalism, like all the trash, all the wrapping, all the stuff that goes around it. Like I have a big problem with wrapping paper. And do you remember when we were wrapping all of our Christmas gifts with newspaper?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the best wrapping paper, in my opinion.
Yeah, all of our family members probably thought we were crazy because we were wrapping all of our gifts with just, regular newspaper for the newspapers that we find in
the mailbox.
In the mailbox or in the neighborhood. And that's what they would get, so they still get to experience the act of peeling the paper off, right? Which is fun. But it's newspaper. It's not shiny, right? Like that's at least paper that you can recycle if you choose to.
I'm not going to lie. We probably sound extremely cheap or extremely Scrooge-like right now.
It's not that though. It's that we're environmentally conscious. We're environmentally aware and we're living our values, right? We're expressing our values through the act.
I just wonder if it's time to rethink Christmas, at least for me and my family. And I think this is something that we've been doing over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Because even with our kids, we feel like they have a lot of things because they have grandparents on each side who've been able to buy things for them. We buy things for them, aunts and uncles and all of this. And I just feel like a lot of us are living in this time of abundance. And that's not to say that people are also struggling, but I also feel like people have a lot of things though.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of items being purchased that people have. And there seems to be this idea that we need all of these things. And for when it comes to buying gifts for our kids, we've even pulled back on that and tried to limit it to a certain number. I know the last couple of years we've tried to focus on no more than 4 gifts. And I think we may have talked about this before. I'm not really sure. But there is this idea, and I'll see if I can try to remember it, of buying 4 specific items, something you want, something you need, something to read. And I can't remember the 4th one. But there's this idea of just like limiting those gifts based on those 4 different categories, I guess you could call them or whatnot. And so that's kind of what we leaned into last year. But even this year, I'm thinking maybe just getting them 1 or 2 things for each kid and definitely something small just because I don't feel like there's a huge need for it. And then also because they are receiving gifts from other family members. So they'll have plenty to open up already.
Yeah. And when we say they're receiving gifts from family members, they're receiving gifts from family members. It's a lot.
Yeah, and one of the things that I recognize with this is that there are some people who are gift givers.
That's how they express their love.
Yes. And so I know that I'm not always the best gift receiver sometimes because I'm like, I really don't need anything. It's great if you would buy me something. But a lot of times I don't really feel like I need anything. I don't want people to go out of their way for me, but that's fine for them to buy for the kids and everything. But I don't know. It's just really this idea for me that I honestly have struggled with over the last couple of years when it comes to Christmas, gift giving specifically. And that doesn't mean I am a Scrooge and I don't want to give anything because one of the things that I have leaned into more as I've gotten older is I value giving flowers to people and receiving flowers myself.
Yeah, it's the thought, right? Like people want to be remembered and they want to be thought about and they want a gesture of some sort. That's what I feel like, right? I feel like even though people may have everything that they need or want or whatever, I feel like they at least want to be acknowledged. They want to be remembered and they want to know that they're special, right? Basically, they want to know they're special.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that. And so one of the things I do give is I do send like a flower arrangement to people in my family. But I definitely am struggling with purchasing physical gifts because it's really hard to identify something that's necessary for that person or that person really has shown a desire to have.
That's cool. I think I would, as a guy, it's kind of weird because I've never received flowers as a gift, but you do give gifts of flowers to men in your family, which is pretty cool. They say that men receive all the flowers that they'll ever receive in their life, when they, at their funeral. So that's cool that you give them, when they're living, they can actually appreciate that.
I think about the India Ari song, I want to give you your flowers now. And that's a song that we actually played at our wedding. And during our ceremony, we actually like gave a bouquet of flowers to our moms. And I don't think we did it to our dads. But now at this point, you know, I also give flowers to my dad and to other guy friends that I have too. I might send them flowers on their birthday or something, just because giving someone their flowers now, it's part of it is saying those things and expressing to them that you appreciate them.
Yeah.
But that other part, I think there's something about the receiving of something beautiful. And I don't think that's reserved for women. I think our society believes that certain things are reserved for men and women.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that flowers are reserved for women. And so I think it's cool to send them to the men. I hope they like them.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe I'll get flowers one day.
I should send you some flowers.
I'm just playing. I'm not hinting. Not passively aggressively hinting.
No, it's cool. It's cool. But that's not to say I am a Scrooge. I'm just wondering if there's something there. There's something to think about.
Yeah.
I think sometimes our ideas of what we've traditionally done has to be challenged.
Yeah.
And in order for us to see if it's still right for us.
Yeah.
I always think it's good to evaluate like what's going on in your life. And I feel like this is one of those areas where I'm evaluating or we're evaluating together. Is this right for us right now? What does this look like for us? Celebrating Christmas, giving gifts or receiving gifts. Like, what do we want that to look like?
Yeah. You know, and it's weird because I can think back. The first time that I experienced this decision, this fork in the road to where I had to make a decision was with my brother. And we probably experienced it around the same time. And it was after we had already been established in our careers for a few years, right? And we were able to buy ourselves whatever we wanted, and we did. You know, we were still single, we didn't have kids, and we just bought whatever we wanted whenever we wanted it. And, you know, that doesn't mean that we were spending recklessly. We just, you know, would get what we wanted or what we needed. And I remember one Christmas, we're like, so what do you want for Christmas? Because that was always the question, right? What are you thinking about for Christmas? Give me a hint. And we were both like, I don't really want anything. I can't think of anything. And we were both saying the same thing at the same time. And at that point, we're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to get you anything. Are you cool with that? And he was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. And, you know, same for me. So that was kind of the moment that changed for me, where it obviously changed for me. Mm-hmm. And then it's like taking that kernel, that thought, and just like thinking about why is that so? So like I'm you know, I said you were a Scrooge earlier, but I was only playing because we're actually both similar in this regard. Like I think that both of us consider the gift giving in the same light, and we shy away from it unless it's something that, like for kids, we'll definitely do because kids always can use a toy or two, right? But for adults, it's a little bit harder, right? They don't want anything, they don't say they want anything, and they don't need anything.
I honestly think it's not just a kids versus adults thing. I think it's more of a what phase of life are you in? Because I think there may be a phase of life where you really would appreciate receiving gifts as an adult because you're just starting out. You're trying to pay back student loans. You're trying to pay off some credit card debt or whatever it is that you're trying to get your finances in order more right. So. And so I think if you're in that phase of life, then you are going to appreciate gifts much more than I'm going to appreciate gifts. Yeah. Versus if you're in the phase that I'm in right now where I can get most of the things that I want and everything that I need. And so it's this thought process for me of, okay, do I still need to receive gifts in the same way as when I was in that previous phase as I am now? Yeah. And so I think that's really the big difference is that our families and a lot of our family members that we give gifts to are in different phases of their lives in relation to the need for gifts. Yeah, that's a good clarification. I had said kids versus adults, but it's actually not that. It's about, the different phases in life and where people are in that journey. Yeah. Because one of the things, like I am actually a gift giver. And one of the things that we do is we adopt a family for Christmas each year. Yeah. through a foundation here that's locally in Austin. And even before, when I was a teacher, we would adopt a family at my school, and we would buy the gifts that they wanted on their list or whatever things that they needed so that they could have an enjoyable Christmas. So for me, it's not even about not giving gifts, because I'm all for giving them when they are needed and necessary, and it adds to that particular day or whatnot. But I think there's an understanding of when is it something that needs to be still done in the same way that you've done it in the past.
Yeah.
If that kind of makes sense.
It does. Let me pump the brakes for a second and talk about the adopting of the family thing, because this may be unfamiliar for a lot of people. I was unfamiliar with it until you brought it to the table when you used to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. So can you describe that process? Can you describe what this charity does?
Yeah, so I'll go back to when I was a teacher. When I was a teacher, I would go to the counselor and say, hey, I'm looking to adopt a family. Can you let me know find me a family so that I can take care of them for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's very similar with the foundation that is here in Austin that we go through, and we use Foundation Communities. And I just go to their website, and you can go and select that you want to adopt a family. And this year they had it to where when you sign up to adopt a family, it gave a description of each the different families that you could adopt, and you would select one or two or however many you wanted to adopt. And then they'll send you an email with more information about that family, and then you can go and purchase those items. So like in previous years, the family said, we want gift cards, and they would say, this boy age 7 wants a gift card to GameStop. This adult age 35 would prefer a gift card to H-E-B or Walmart.
Yeah.
And so some years it's been like that, and some years it's been giving us a child age 6 who wants a Ninja Turtles toy, but it'll give you some information about what they are hoping to get for Christmas. And then we will go and purchase those things. We deliver it to Foundation Communities, and then they deliver it to the families.
Yeah. And it's very touching to me, because the families that are requesting this kind of service, this kind of help, they're asking for very, very fundamental things like a comforter.
Fundamental.
And it's, when we think about the phase that we are, how lucky we have been, like for us to even be talking about this topic from this lens in life is to say that, we're comfortable and we have it good. And then when we look at the items that we're shopping around for these families that are in need like this, it's kind of eye-opening. Mm-hmm. And it really makes you feel good about helping these families out. It makes me feel good.
Yeah. And honestly, that's one of the things that we've said in the past, or what I've said in the past, like to family members. I said, you don't have to buy me anything, but if you're interested, this is a great foundation that you can donate money to, because there are, several foundations that we like because of how they support people in the community. And so, I don't need anything, but I know there are so many people out there who do need something. Yeah. So if you want to give to me, like give to those people, and honestly, that will make me happiest.
Yeah, exactly. Because you want those people to be taken care of, and that rather than they could actually use the stuff more readily.
Mm-hmm. So I really think it's this idea of balancing the consumerism with the need, and with keeping with a happy celebration as well. So like, how can you still enjoy Christmas without making it super heavily focused on receiving a ton of gifts, and, still enjoy Christmas? And I think that's really what it is.
And also,
for me.
And the opposite of that, right? Letting people express their love with gift giving to you, even if it's not directly to you, right? Like if it's to a family on your behalf, or at least as your idea, or, like with something like flowers, right? Something that's a gesture.
Yeah. And it's funny because I did not really appreciate flowers when I was in my 20s, because I remember you used to bring me flowers all the time when we first started dating. And it wasn't something that I appreciated to the extent that I do now, because before because we were just starting out, I'm like, this is wasting money on these flowers here. We could do something else with that money.
Natasha's favorite line, this is wasting money.
Listen, I'm sorry. But now when I think about giving flowers, I think about how, okay, these flowers are not adding to the piles of plastic that our world is having an issue with. It's not adding to all of the garbage that's going into the oceans and the rivers that are killing the fish and all of this stuff. Like, these flowers are actually going to go back into the earth. They're going to go into the soil and make something good again. And so now for me, I feel much better about giving and receiving flowers than I did before.
Yeah, me too. It took that reframing, and really, the environmental impact was a big part of that. Because I never really, I used to bring them to you because, that's the expectation for, a man to a woman, right? Like, oh, take your lady flowers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I am curious to know how other people are handling Christmas and gift giving and gift receiving. And if anyone resonates with this idea of struggling to decide if you should or should not give gifts. And we would love to hear from you. So feel free to email us info@blackandbrownmakegreen.com. And also don't forget to join our newsletter by visiting blackandbrownmakegreen.com/subscribe. And if you enjoyed this episode, please join us for the next one. Share it with a friend, and let's make green together.
Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make green together. Let's make green together.